The kitchen fitter has attempted the electrics himself. It's just so rubbish. A hash up of different circuits. No. Never ever seen such a salty comment. Ugh, it's all sticky. Oh, it's just stupid, really. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Artisan Electrics, where today we're out in Chelmsford and we're back at the house with the cooked consumer unit. I don't know if you remember, we did an EV install here. I took the cover off and noticed some of the cables were burnt. So the plan is today to try and go through everything. I just get the sense that there's some DIY, or the kitchen fitter has attempted the electrics himself. I'm fairly confident in the most of the house. It's just the area of the kitchen that I'm more concerned in. The new cooker, I feel like there's bound to be faults on the cooker. Basically any kitchen appliances that have been installed by him. So it should make quite an interesting video. So yeah, come along. One of the things I like to do on an inspection is get a bit of the old earth loopy. Earth leakage, I should say. Get a measurement for that. Clamp round both the tails. Sometimes it'll be quite tricky to actually get them round. There you go. And then measure it. So we've got 11 milliamps, so that's not too bad. Sort of fluctuating a little bit, but there's not really too much leaky equipment here. But sometimes when you've got one RCD protecting the property and you've got lots of different equipment with compressors and that kind of thing, air conditioning units, loads of bigger fridges, that kind of stuff, you get an awful lot of leakage and that can create issues. So I try and just tie it in with the inspection as I'm checking the earthing type. So we've got TNCS here, so that's terra neutral combined, also known as PME. I will just get a reading of earth leakage. Something that doesn't really take too long. Just a bit more thorough. Stick that on your certificate. I hate this tester. It's the worst tester I've ever used. Like, I actually left the Q-Tech, my spare tester, at the unit, and I wish I didn't now. I wish I brought that with me because I want to start making that my main one. I mean, it's not my preferred tester, but at least it actually works. It's 830, right? And I'm already on 1 bar of battery. 838. Absolute joke. It's just so rubbish. I'll do like a handful of tests and then it needs recharging again. I think I might be able to take the batteries out, in fairness, like the pack, and put in AAA batteries, but they should think the battery that they supply with it would be able to last at least a full day of testing, let alone a full like half hour, 40 minutes of testing before the battery starts to drain off. Just terrible. Have a look at this. Someone else is using my putty. That's the putty I use for everything. I thought it was just me that used that, but that's literally the exact stuff that I use. The gas man's using it, so that's great to see. I was just doing a quick check on all the bonding, but I don't actually even know what that stuff is called, but I love it, and I'll get Jordan to buy it, so if Jordan knows what it is, he can put the link in the description below. Just going for visuals because my useless tester's run out of battery, but I noticed there is bonding here for the water, but it's being cut, which is interesting. I wonder if that's because they've now got a plastic incomer or something, or if it's just because some doughnut has done plumbing work and not reconnected it. Let's be honest, that's more likely. Right, so there's the main stopcock. Looks to me to be metal incoming. Maybe if I take off the kickboard. That looks like it's coming through the floor in metal. So that should be bonded. Man, it's annoying. Here's a perfect scenario for you. Smack my finger. Every single kitchen fitter in the comments is now going to hate on me. But guess what? I don't care. Right, so I've come here a little while back to do some work, and I spotted a few non-compliances just opening up the consumer unit. Well, if you recall, it was all burnt out. So I said, look, you're going to need a proper inspection, because there was a sticker on it saying that it was good for another few years and that it had been tested and signed off. It hadn't been, well, not properly. For a start, they've cut the bonding cable off. So the kitchen fitters come, I mean, even the plumbing. I don't claim to be a qualified plumber, but there's a lot of stuff where you just think someone just doesn't know what they're doing, and they're just lazy, like not putting a heat mat behind things to just scorching all the wood. It wouldn't fly, and a lot of customers, yeah, they weren't too impressed with the quality of the electrics or the plumbing. It's not hard to see why, really. The trouble is, you get a lot of multi-traders who decide that one of their multi-trades that they're going to go to do is electrics. And it's just best that they didn't, really. If you've got a weird earth yellow and green wire connected onto a pipe and you go, oh, why does that have to be there? Maybe Google it before you cut it off, or call an electrician. Probably best not just to chop it off. Now I'm going to have to reconnect that, and that's going to be quite a pain. I'm going to have to try and pull it back out and get a bunding clamp on underneath. Bunding, no, and add an observation. So that's one observation. We'll crack on and see if we can find anything else. I've just lifted up this hob, which is a nice little crack on there, which fortunately was not me. I've got the kilowatt rating of that, so that's 7.2 kilowatts. This is 5.5 kilowatts, so that's 12.7 kilowatts, which, doing a quick calculation, brings us up to 55 amps. So that's what these devices are rated at, and this is all going through one 40 amp cooker switch, and it's on a 32 amp circuit. So I mean, realistically, with discrimination, or sorry, not discrimination, diversity, it's very unlikely that both of those are going to be on at the same time at full whack, both drawing their full load. However, because they're both pretty hefty appliances, really, it would probably be my recommendation that they were on their own circuit. I don't think it warrants being like a code 1, or definitely not a code 1, or a code 2 or anything. That is technically protected by that overload device. So the worst that's going to happen really is a bit of nuisance tripping. So I don't want to create unnecessary work. For now, I just want to see how they've joined it. So I might have to take this out, and I reckon it will just be underneath the kickboard here. I've not got the highest expectations, to be perfectly honest, judging from how things have done so far. Ouch. These are really sharp, these kickboards. Oh my, what a fantastic guess. I said, didn't I? There'll be some dodgy old connector blocks. And there we have it, some connector blocks with no chock box. So what they've done is they've looped the cable round from the isolator to here, connected the hob up, and then gone from here out and round, under the ground by the looks of it. You see where they've gone in through the cement? So that's not really very good either, because, well, cement and the PVC that we use on cables doesn't really mix very well. I'm going to take a picture of that, and then I'll drop that to my phone, and there we have another observation. I think I'm going to code that one a code 2. Okay, so the reason why I'm going to code that a code 2 is because realistically I think it needs to be a better connection than that, and it needs to be accessible. So I could code it on the accessibility point of it, because it's not a maintenance-free enclosure, it's not got any sort of cord grip, it's not got anything like that, and it's hidden under there, and it's also got a heck of a lot of load on it. That's the thing. It's not like it's an inaccessible enclosure for a little outside light or something. You're talking for a cooker and a hob. So I'm going to code it under 526.5, and that reg says, every termination and joint in a live conductor or a pen conductor shall be made within one of the following, or a combination thereof. I, a suitable accessory complying with the appropriate product standard, so I'm guessing that's with the MF logo and that kind of thing, an equipment enclosure complying with the appropriate product standard. So where a connection is made, the enclosure shall provide adequate mechanical protection. Note. In section 526, which is electrical connections in BS 7671, it doesn't meet that. So I'm going to code it under 526, basically. I'll find some specifics in there, and I like to stick them on my certificate, just so that if anyone was to ever pull up one of my certificates and disagree with me, at least they can see, they're welcome to disagree with me, but at least they can see them where I was coming from. I can say that this is the reason why I've coded it, is because this, and this. Do you know who connects up your cookers?
Yeah, I do.
If they were an electrician, I'd be having words. Right, I maybe would just have a word then, just to say, by the way, our electrician has said that it's super dangerous what you've done, so maybe don't do that in kitchens anymore, thanks. I found this too funny. It had to be shown that I'd never work. I pray every day he goes bankrupt. Never ever seen such a salty comment in all my life. I think these are brilliant. If you want to see an episode of me and Jordan reading out all the beautiful comments and some of my favourite ones, big shout out to Four Chins Jordan. Or skinny man boobs guy Cory. If you want to see an episode of us reading through some of those comments, then I would actually personally quite love to do that. So just leave a little comment for us below. Electric Traveller, if you'd like to see a video of us reading out some of your fantastic comments, then drop us a thumbs up. I really want to know the thought process of these people, where it's like every day, that's the first thing you think of. It's almost a compliment, really, the fact that we do manage to take up the headspace of some people. It's slightly strange, to be honest, slightly strange, but every day I pray that you go bankrupt. Wow. Who hurt you, son? Who hurt you? Like, today, got to go get the milk, drop the kids off at school, hope Jordan goes bankrupt. Wow, kind of a compliment. Ah, maybe this massive thing. I would have thought that was more of an extractor. Oh dear, how do I turn that on? Am I being an idiot? Well, I probably am, but I have a strong suspicion, unless maybe it's remote control or Alexa powered or something, I have a strong suspicion that it actually just doesn't work. Oh no, there's a plug above there. Oh, yeah, it's switched off. That's what that is. Max, if you can give me a P back, I'm not actually that heavy, honestly. I'm only about 16 stone-ish. I'll go get my stepladder out. I can give that a quick test then, although probably pointless. It looks like it's not been switched on in a long time. Even though it's a really rough circuit, I thought might as well get an R1 plus R2 reading on it. And it's pretty shockingly high, 1.03. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned it. I'm not a fan of this tester. And one of the other things I really don't like in it is it has a battery for the remote. Oh my goodness, I miss my old Luke. Ugh, it's all sticky. I need to take my rings off. I always forget. There we go. Rings are off. Yeah, whenever you work in a kitchen, it's nothing to do with the cleanliness or anything like that. It's no slight on the customer at all. My kitchen will be exactly the same. It's just cooking grease builds up in these places, and you never ever need to go there until you're doing your electrical test, and then all of a sudden you do. Notice more lovely connector blocks and things for all of this. It's just kitchen fitter electrics, unfortunately, and that's no slight on kitchen fitters in general, because I know some kitchen fitters that do tremendous work and they do great electrics, great plumbing. They're just good all-round tradesmen. But unfortunately, same with every trade, there are a few cowboys in the industry that kind of ruin it for everyone else. Like, that connection is just completely falling out. There we go. Now I'm suspicious, to be honest, because I've come across so much like this. Whenever I see vans that are kitchen fitters, tradesmen, and that say, yeah, we offer everything, electrics, and I see domestic installers, etc., I'm instantly suspicious. I'm like, okay, well, do you actually offer everything, or do you do everything to this standard? Because every trade is a minefield, really. Like, yeah, sure, I can plumb in that. I can work out plumbing. I understand the principles of it. I could probably connect up a boiler if I really wanted to, like some basic mechanical work. But I wouldn't, because I don't know what I don't know. And there's a whole minefield of regs and things that, unless I was doing it every day, you just don't really know it. But I know there are some very clever people out there that can do a good job. But because of the people doing work like this and like that and like that, it ruins it for everyone else. This is starting to do my head in a little bit now, because we've got loads of these 16 amp circuits and they're all labelled as like heating, doesn't do the heating. Kitchen heater, I've checked every single one of these spurs. These spurs don't want us, they're all still on as well. So it seems to me like everything is actually on the ring. That I presume is on the ring because it's still on, and it's only the ring left to turn off. I can't turn the ring off at the minute because people working from home, I can turn it off in about 15-20 minutes. So for the meantime, I'm just trying to work out what circuit actually does what. Yeah, so these are still on as well, but I've no idea what they do. They must have done like sockets down at low level or something for how the kitchen used to be. But again, this is the problem when a kitchen fitter tries and does electrics. So I need to stop saying that. When someone who's not competent to do electrics starts doing electrics, you end up with the situation like this where you just got a hash up of different circuits, and probably behind here you've probably got old cables and old sockets and all sorts. Really, if you're rewiring a kitchen, you should just strip it out while you've got the opportunity, run in your own circuits just for the kitchen and reconnect the upstairs rings and stuff and have it all separate. Because to have the whole building pretty much on one ring is just, well, it's just stupid really. So I've been so negative today, let's be nice about something. Ruben's a nice lad, Lee's a very nice fella, Ruben's a top bloke. Right, that's enough niceness. So I hate it when I read certificates and they're just all lim, NV, not visual, couldn't get access, couldn't this, couldn't that. Unfortunately, this certificate is turning into one of those certificates a little bit, because so many of these circuits I can't seem to find. Kitchen heater, I've switched it off, everything seems to be on still. And I've looked underneath the plinths because I presume it was some sort of plinth heater once, I thought maybe it was that, but there's no evidence of it. So I'm just going to leave that switched off. I've spoken to the customer, he hasn't got a clue either. Central heating, I've switched it off, the boiler's still on, the immersion heater's still on, all the valves are still operating, so that doesn't seem to be doing anything either. When I switch it off, everything still works, so I'm going to leave that off and put not verified. I don't even think I'll bother putting further investigation needed, because if I'm disconnecting the circuit and 6 months down the line nothing is noticed that it's off, because it might be that I disconnect it and next week I get a phone call saying, oh yeah, this little outdoor socket that you missed, that's not working now, that was taken to there, then fair enough, we can come back and sort it. But if I can't find it, there's literally no point me wasting time digging through stuff that's not there, so I'll just switch it off. And then when we come back to do the board change, which probably won't be for a few months yet anyways, which I think inevitably we will end up probably changing that board, then it doesn't really matter. We can just disconnect those circuits and completely leave them out, because they're not doing anything anyway. And if you've, the old Mary Kondo philosophy, if you've not needed it in the last 6 months, the chances are you'll never need it, unless it's winter coats, in which case don't throw those out. Breaker won't reset. I actually can't get it to turn back on. Turn the power off. Ah, it's busted. Okay, well that is annoying, because I've turned their ring off and I actually, genuinely, I think I'll snap it before that actually goes back on, which is really, really annoying. There we go. What on earth? Just a proper busted MCB. Well, I can't reconnect that, so I've been making a little testing bag out of this velocity bag, which is pretty sweet, pretty beautiful. What I might have to do as a temporary measure is either put it on with the other ring, because obviously that's going to have to be sorted, I'll have to come back and fix that. Or maybe I could put it on the 40. That's very, very non-standard, having a ring on a 40 amp breaker. But I think it'd be alright, because you've got the two 2.5 mils, you've got a 5 mil basically, haven't you? I don't have 5 mil cable in the UK, but I'm thinking a 6 amp is comfortable on a 32 amp breaker, and a 4 mil is comfortable on a 32 amp breaker. So surely if you have 5 mil, it should be alright on a 40. I don't think it is actually. I think it's right on the nose. I need to just go grab another 32 amp breaker. This one is truly pooped. There you go, you can see there, just a bit dodgy. I don't know why it's like that. It's like, I've actually never seen that before, especially not in an MK breaker. But I think the actual function inside pushing the solenoid or whatever is broken. Right, so I have switched that off. I'm going to switch this one on now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and do my figure of 8 test. So I've done my end-to-end, it's got all my readings. I've got these little crocodile clips, which I keep inside here. I'm really loving this bag. Thank you so much, Nick Bundy. If you're watching this, I know you do, because he's a secret mega fan. He doesn't like to admit it, but he watches everything. I think I catch him like accidentally liking my Instagram posts late at night. But Nick Bundy, you're an absolute legend. I don't know if he sent me this bag or if he asked Velocity to send me this bag, but either way, thanks to Nick, I've got this bag. And here, come round, let me show you it. It's got everything in it. Got my data testing kit, got my thermal imaging camera. It's pretty sweet. I think I've shown you it before. Make it, it's tiny. I've got all my testing gear inside of here, and it all stays nice and organised. So Nick, thank you, you're a star, even though you are from Staffordshire. That is a shame, but I still like you anyway. Thanks, Nick. So I've not seen a feed for the garage yet. However, there's a fuse spur here off of the socket, which is on the ring. So the garage has got a little consumer unit and stuff, and I've not seen a circuit in the board, so that leads me to believe that it must be a spur from somewhere. And if I was to reasonably spur for the garage, I would probably take it from the nearest socket. I mean, I probably wouldn't do a spur for a garage, but if I was, that is probably where I'd do it, because it's going to be the nearest place just to nip down, come up and stick it into a boards. You can't really hear it very well. I'm going to try and put my mic over there, but it's like stuck halfway. So it pushes off. It shouldn't do that. It should just flick off. But look, this, it flicks on. Okay, well, now it decides to do it, now that the film is, look, trust me, take my word for it, right? That breaker is mega dodge. I think that's gonna need to be replaced as well. So Max raised a really good point earlier, something that the viewers might be wondering as well, potentially. Where are the cheeky girls? I don't know if you remember them, but they were on a show, weren't they? What were they on? Talent show or something? They were on something. You know, we are the cheeky girls, cheeky. Absolutely horrendous. Like, sorry if you're watching this, but awful music. But what I'm wondering is, where are they now? Because once you've had a career like that, I can't imagine seeing them in Matalan serving you. But I really can't imagine they're living off the royalties for that song. Because other than Jordan, I don't know anyone that actually listens to him. Jordan and Max love him, but other than them, I don't know anyone else that actually listens to him. Yeah, I would love to know where they're at, if they're out still performing and gigging. Because if they are, I really feel like I want to go and watch them and make an episode of it. If you know where the cheeky girls are, please, I'm begging you, leave it in the comments below. Thank you. I hate it when that happens. I was just working upstairs, testing the lighting circuit, and it tripped the RCD. The customer just happens to be on a really important work call, and the power cuts. Usually we've got the Jackery, but I left it at someone's house because the same story. They were on a really important call. I finished the job and thought, I can't really unplug them from the Jackery now and back into the other one. Ended up getting distracted, whatever, leaving the Jackery at that job. So now I'm Jackery-less. I have apologised sincerely, and now I'm just being super careful. I don't know why it tripped. I reckon I must have just, maybe even through the impedance of me holding the live and touching the earth to test it, it might just be a bit of an oversensitive RCD. Is there any way you guys are getting around this? Doing domestic work with people working from home at the minute? I'm finding it to be a bit of a thing, a bit of a nightmare. There we go, so that was a good educated guess. So you've got an armoured cable coming into the back of this switch here. So you've got this 2-core armoured going off, so that's actually okay really. And it's on a 13 amp fuse, so although it's not ideal having the garage running off the spur, it's probably nicer to have it as a circuit back to the consumer unit. It's not really the end of the world, so I won't mark that down. At the end of the day, if they have an issue, it will just pop the fuse, so not really too big a deal. That is us done, and it was pretty much exactly as expected. Kitchen full of absolute horrors and DIY marvels. The rest of the house was all right. I'm pretty sure we've got a broken ring upstairs. The reason I say that is doing our figure of 8 test, one half of the house was really low resistance, talking about 0.15 or so. The other half of the house was about 0.5, and there's one socket added in the hallway. Trouble is, that socket's coming up through chipboard, floorboards, chipboard and carpet, so it's not like I can very easily roll that carpet back and see the junction box where the bad joint is. My suggestion would probably be downrate the circuit, make it a 20 amp circuit. There's hardly any appliances or anything actually on that circuit, so I'll drop that to a 20 amp breaker. That should resolve that. I wanted to test the garage, but I've kind of had to make it visual because this RCD, this is on the same circuit as the Wi-Fi, and I think if I switch the Wi-Fi off again, I'm gonna have my face smashed in. And he's a really lovely customer, and I don't even have to resolve to that. I'll smash my own face in so that he doesn't have to do it. Yeah, I cannot risk tripping the RCD, so I'm not going to do an RCD test on this RCD. And I'm not really too worried because, as I say, there's already a 30 milliamp RCD upstream, so all of this is protected by 30 milliamps. But all the downstream circuits from it are fine. But as I say, it's just that RCD that I can't test. That's the shot. I think I'm in the jungle, but I'm not. Actually, not in Vietnam. I'm in Chelmsford. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to smash thumbs up. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.